All right, so I want you to just picture a scenario with me for a second. And I'll warn you, it's probably going to raise your blood pressure a little bit just by me describing it.
Okay, I'm ready.
You're driving to work. It's, a Tuesday. You're already running about 10 minutes late. Maybe you spilled a little coffee on your shirt.
Already stressed.
You are stressed, and then all of a sudden you hear that sound.
Car repairs can be costly.
The sound of doom.
Let's break down the essentials.
You look down at the
Car
dashboard,
repairs
and there it
typically
is.
range
The
from
little orange
$250
check engine
to
light.
$300,
Your stomach
depending
just
on the service.
it drops through the floor.
It's such a universal feeling. It's that instant realization that your day and probably your whole week just got significantly harder.
Right. Now, this is where the story splits into two completely different realities. If you've got a healthy savings account and you look at that light and you think, ugh, this is annoying.
Right, an inconvenience.
You take it to the shop, the mechanic says it's a sensor, something like that. It's $300. You pay it, you grumble, but life moves on.
A frustration.
Right.
But it's not, a life-altering event.
Exactly. But that's not the reality we're diving into today. We're looking at the other timeline. The one where you check your bank balance and you see $38.
And payday is still 4 days away.
So that $300 repair, it might as well be $3 million. You literally cannot pay it. So what do?
You do the only thing you really can do. You ignore it, you turn the radio up a little louder, and you just pray the car keeps moving.
Which, as anyone who has ever driven a beater knows, is a temporary fix at best.
And this is where the math starts to get really brutal. Because you didn't have the liquidity, the cash on hand to fix the small problem, the problem gets bigger.
Much bigger.
2 weeks later, the engine just seizes up on the highway. So now you don't just need a sensor, you need a tow truck. That's $200 right there.
And because you kept driving on it, that small problem damaged a major component. So the mechanic calls, and the bill isn't $300 anymore. It's $2,100.
And on top of that, you don't have a car. So you can't get to your job.
Yeah.
You miss 3 shifts, let's say. That's another $300 in lost wages.
So let's pause and look at that equation. What started as a manageable $300 problem has just mathematically mutated into a $2,600 catastrophe.
Hi, I'm
right
Bobby.
There
Today,
is the hook
we'll learn
for
about
today's
money,
deep
rules,
dive.
and finance.
We are not talking about bad luck. We are unpacking a systemic economic reality that sociologists and economists call the poverty tax.
The idea that it's actually expensive to be poor.
Incredibly expensive. The sources we're looking at today, they argue that the whole system is designed in a way that penalizes a lack of capital. If you have money, the system smooths the path for you.
And if you don't?
If you don't, the system creates friction and fees and these spirals that make it almost impossible to ever catch up.
And I think the mission for this deep dive is really important here. We're not here to give investment advice. We're not talking about crypto or side hustles or how to get rich quick. We're strictly looking at the mechanics of why money flows upward and why the math of poverty is just so
Let's talk about the uncomfortable truth in finance.
unforgiving.
Understanding your spending
It's a
habits is
fascinating
key
topic
to financial
because it
health.
completely challenges the standard narrative we always hear, which is usually, if you're broke, it's because you spend too much.
right, the whole stop buying avocado toast argument.
Exactly. But the data shows that so often you're broke, not because you're wasteful, but because every single aspect of your life actually costs more than it does for a wealthy person.
Okay, so let's start with one of my favorite concepts from the research stack. It's
Avoid
called
this
the
common
Boots
financial
theory.
pitfall
And
as
it
indicated by
actually
the
comes
X
from
over the
a
play
Terry
icon, which
Pratchett
represents
novel of all
unnecessary
places,
video
but economists
expenses in your
love
budget.
Oh yeah, it's the perfect
Tip 1,
illustration
track
of
your
what they call
spending.
a false
Tip
economy.
2, create
So
a budget.
break it down for us.
Tip
What
3,
is the
start
Boots
saving today.
theory?
The premise is actually pretty simple. Imagine 2 men who both need a new pair of work boots. One's wealthy and one's poor. The wealthy man can afford to go to the store and buy a really high-quality pair of boots for, say, $60.
$60 up front.
Right, and those boots are great. They're leather, they're waterproof, they have good soles. They're going to last him for 10 years.
So his cost over a decade for dry feet is $60.
Exactly. Now, you look at the poor man
I need boots just as badly.
just as badly, but he does not have $60.
These strong boots
He
are
has
priced at
15.
just $60.
He literally cannot
offering great
access the
value for
high-quality
durable
option.
quality.
So he buys the cheap, cardboard-soled boots for $15.
But those boots are garbage.
They are. They leak, they hurt his feet, and they just fall apart within a year. So next year, he has to go back and spend another $15.
And the year after that, I see where this math is going.
Over that same 10-year period, the poor man has bought 10 pairs of cheap boots. He spent $150. The wealthy man spent $60.
It's mind-blowing when you lay it out like that. The poor man spent more than double, and he still had wet feet the whole time.
Precisely. And the real kicker is, the poor man didn't make a bad choice. He made the only choice his liquidity allowed him to make. He's paying a premium tax for not having the upfront capital.
This path
And
leads
while
to
the
a
stories
happy
about
outcome.
boots, the articles
This one
we read
leads to
point
a
out
broken
that this applies
outcome.
to,
The choice is yours.
well, to almost everything. Toilet paper was the other big example.
It is the classic bulk versus scarcity dynamic. If you have a Costco membership and, $500 to spend on a grocery run, you buy the massive 30-roll pack of toilet paper.
Your cost per roll is pennies.
Pennies. You stick it in the closet and you don't even think
Let's
about it
add
for months.
another
But
example
if you're
to our
living
list.
paycheck to paycheck, you don't have $50 to lock up in toilet paper inventory.
Break down our
Exactly. You're at
daily
the corner
expenses.
bodega or the
Food at
dollar
$5,
store. You're buying the
bill is
four-pack.
$100.
And the price per roll is double,
Discover
maybe
the
triple what the
convenience of
Costco
bulk
shopper
toilet
paid.
paper packs for your
And you're
home
doing
or
that every
business
single
needs.
So you're just bleeding money on
Buying
the
in bulk
absolute
can save you
basics.
money per unit
Food,
as the price per roll
hygiene,
decreases
cleaning
with larger
supplies.
quantities.
Just because you can't afford the entry fee for the savings.
Let's compare the
You
value
are
of
structurally
single
locked
rolls
out of
versus
efficiency.
bulk packs.
The system rewards volume,
Buying in
and if
bulk
you can't
saves
play at
money
volume,
per
you pay the
roll,
penalty.
making
That's
it
the
a smart
tax
choice for
in
your
the
budget.
grocery aisle.
Each roll is just 30 cents.
But
making
honestly,
this
the
pack
part
a
of the
smart,
research that really got my
cost-effective
blood
choice.
boiling was when we started looking at institutions,
Yeah.
specifically banking.
This is where the numbers get really big. It moves from, death by
This
a
is why
thousand cuts to
understanding
just
pricing is crucial.
straight
Even
up
for everyday
extraction.
items
It feels
this
like a
corner store
total
toilet paper,
paradox.
which is priced
The
much
way
higher
banks
than its
treat
value.
you depends entirely
This
on
chart
how much
shows that
money you
buying in
already
smaller
have.
packs can
It is a
sometimes
stark
cost more
divide.
per unit
I mean, if
than
you
buying
keep
in bulk.
$10,000 in your checking account, you're a VIP.
Right.
The bank waives your monthly fees. They give you free cashier's checks. They might even refund your ATM fees. They are paying you in perks for the privilege of holding your money.
This
But if
is
you're
your
the
backup
person with
income,
$17 in your
ready
account,
to be
Then you
activated
are a
when
target.
needed.
Let's walk through the overdraft scenario because the math is it's staggering. Let's say you have $17 in your account. You miscalculated a bill, maybe a subscription hits that you forgot about for $20.
Okay, so you're technically negative $3.
Right. Now, in a fair world, the bank might just decline the transaction or maybe charge you the $3 later. But that isn't what happens.
No,
They approve the transaction, covering the $3 for you,
which sounds nice until...
until they hit you with a $35 overdraft fee.
Okay, let's just pause on that. You effectively borrowed $3 from the bank for maybe, 24
This empty
hours?
cage is labeled freedom,
And the
but it's
cost
empty,
of that loan
symbolizing a
was
lack of true freedom.
$35.
Financial constraints
If
can
you
keep us
calculated
caged.
that as an annual percentage rate, an APR, it is something like 10,000% interest. It's predatory.
This is
And
how
the
a single
banks,
margin
I mean,
works
they
in
know
finance.
this, right?
It's
This
the
isn't
cushion
some
that
kind of
gets compressed
accident.
under
It is
financial
absolutely
pressure.
part of the business model.
Yeah.
The sources we reviewed pointed out that banks make billions of dollars every single year purely from overdraft fees. And the vast majority of that revenue comes from the poorest 10% of their customers.
So the people with the least money are effectively subsidizing the free checking accounts for the people with the most money.
That's the quote from one article that really stuck with me. The wealthy earn interest. The struggling pay interest. That is the fundamental mechanic of how wealth transfers in this system.
It's just incredibly frustrating. And you see the same dynamic in housing. We always hear renting is throwing money away, which is a little simplified, but the structural trap is real.
Oh, it is the ultimate poverty trap.
Yeah.
In so many cities, the monthly cost of renting a home is actually higher than the monthly mortgage payment would be for that same property.
So you're paying $1,800 in rent, but the mortgage would only be $1,200. You can clearly afford the monthly payment.
You're already paying more than the monthly payment. But you can't buy the house. And why is that? It's because you can't save for the down payment.
Because the rent is so high, it consumes all your margin.
Exactly. It's a catch-22. The high cost of being poor, your high rent, prevents you from accessing the tool, which is homeownership, that would lower your costs and build your wealth.
So the tenant is paying off the landlord's mortgage. The tenant is building the landlord's
Managing
equity.
two paychecks
One builds
increases
the
financial
asset,
risk,
the other
as
funds
symbolized
it.
by this warning.
If you try to escape
Proper
this by
allocation
using
is
credit,
crucial for
but you
stability.
have a poor history, that brings us right back to the car market.
Oh man, the buy here, pay here dealerships.
This is where the system becomes
Let's look at the past to understand our financial journey.
mathematically oppressive. If you have good credit, you buy a reliable used Toyota with a 4% loan. It lasts forever.
But if you have bad credit, no reputable bank will even touch you. So you go to a predatory lot,
Where they sell you a high mileage car at double its actual value
a car that's already falling apart.
with an interest rate of 25%. So you're paying way more for a car that is way more likely to break down.
Which leads right back to the check engine light we started with. It's just a closed loop. The system keeps you in a state of instability.
It does.
Okay, so we've established the financial math is, let's say it's rigged. But there was another layer to these articles that I found even more compelling. And that's the cost that doesn't show up on a bank statement. The cost inside your head.
The cognitive load. This is a huge area of research right now. For a long time, economists just treated people like calculators, assuming everyone makes rational decisions all the time. But we don't.
Especially not when we're stressed.
Exactly. There's a concept called bandwidth. Your brain only has
Let's
so much
clarify
processing
this.
power.
Don't quit
when
your
you're
job.
Constantly worried about
Keep a
survival.
steady income.
Will the lights
This
get
is
cut
key.
off? How am I going to feed the kids until Friday? That worry runs in the background like a heavy computer program.
It just eats up all your RAM.
It does. There's a famous study mentioned in the source material where they tested people's IQ while they were stressed about money. They found that the cognitive impact of financial scarcity is roughly equivalent to losing 13 IQ points.
13 points. That's massive. That's the difference between being well-rested and pulling an all-nighter.
It forces the brain into what they call tunneling. You become hyper-focused on the immediate threat, the bill that's due today. And you literally lose the capacity to think about next week or next month.
You know, this explains so much about why people make decisions that look bad from the outside, like taking out a payday loan.
Right. An observer says, that's stupid, the interest rate is 400%.
Yeah.
But the person in the tunnel says, this stops the pain right now. When you're drowning, you don't plan swimming lessons. You just thrash to get air.
So the poverty tax isn't just taking your money, it's taking your ability to make good long-term decisions.
It robs you of your agency.
Yeah.
And then on top of the money and the brain power, there's the third resource it steals: time.
The time tax, this one really hit home for me. Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right?
In theory. But in practice,
This
being
house
broke is
represents your
incredibly
financial
time-consuming.
stability,
Just think about
supported by
Right,
two
if you have a
key
washer and
incomes.
dryer in your house, laundry takes,
Right.
what, 5 minutes of actual work? You throw it in, push a button, and you go watch TV.
Correct. But if you can't afford
This
that
is your
machine,
backup income,
or the apartment
ready,
with the hookups,
ready to be activated
you're going
when
to the
needed.
laundromat. And that is a 2 or 3 hour ordeal.
You have to travel there, get quarters, wait for the machines, guard your clothes.
So they aren't stolen. Fold them there and travel all the way back. That's 3 hours a week. Over a year, that's like 150 hours. That's almost 4 full work weeks just spent watching clothes spin.
Time you can't spend working a second job. Time you can't spend helping your kids with homework.
Time you can't spend resting, so you are fresh for work the next day. It creates this friction that slows everything down.
Grocery shopping without a car in a food desert is another one.
It turns a 30-minute errand into a half-day logistics mission with buses and walking.
This empty cage is
So you
labeled
end up
freedom,
shopping
but
at
it's
the
empty,
corner store,
symbolizing a
paying
lack of
higher
true freedom.
prices for
Financial
worse food.
constraints can keep us
It all
caged.
connects. The time tax feeds the money tax, which feeds the cognitive tax.
Okay. We've painted a very clear
This is
and
how a
honestly
safety
a
margin
pretty
works
bleak
in finance.
picture.
It's the
The
cushion
system
that
is set up
gets
to
compressed
extract
under
wealth
financial
from the bottom. The boots fall apart, the banks charge you for being broke, and your brain is exhausted.
Right.
But we promised a deep dive, and that means we need to talk about the way out.
And I'm glad we're pivoting here because the sources do offer solutions. But, and this is a big but, the advice is not what you usually hear from the personal finance gurus on TV.
Right. The solution is not stop buying lattes.
No. We need to be very, very clear about this. If you are in a structural poverty spiral, saving $11 a month on Netflix is not going to fix it. It is mathematically insufficient. It's like trying to empty the ocean with a spoon.
So if we ignore the skip the coffee advice, what is the actual first step?
It's unsexy, it's boring, but it's the only thing that works. You have to build a buffer.
We're talking about that first $500 or $1,000.
Yes, and this is the critical mindset shift. This money is not an investment. It is not for growth. It is an insurance policy against the poverty tax.
It's the anti-spiral fund.
Exactly. Think back to the car repair at the beginning. If you have $1,000 sitting in a boring savings account and that check engine light comes on, you pay the $300.
It hurts to write the check, but you do it.
And because you pay it, the engine doesn't blow up. You don't need the tow truck, you don't miss work, you don't lose the wages. That $1,000 buffer just saved you $2,000 in future costs.
It buys you the privilege of having a problem instead of a disaster.
That is the perfect way to put it. It allows you to participate in the economy on standard terms, rather than on predatory terms.
But the obvious question is, how? If you're in the cycle, if you're negative $3 before the overdraft fee even hits, finding a spare $1,000 can feel impossible.
It is incredibly hard. We can't pretend it isn't. But the sources suggest a strategic shift. They call it a life audit.
This isn't just a budget rule.
No, budgeting is usually about restriction. Don't spend money. A life audit is about looking for leaks. You need to identify exactly where the poverty tax is hitting you the hardest.
So you look for the penalties.
Right. Are you paying late fees every month on a specific bill? Are you buying single rolls of paper towels because cash is tight? You have to identify the biggest leak that's draining the most value.
And then you have to plug it. And this is where the hustle comes in, but with a really specific purpose.
Exactly. If you pick up extra shifts, or you sell some old clothes, or do some gig work, you do not use that money to upgrade your lifestyle. You don't buy a new phone. You use it exclusively to build the buffer or kill the leak.
It's strategic. You're buying leverage.
Think about it this way. If you have a credit card charging you 25% interest and you pay it off, you just guaranteed yourself a 25% return on your money. The best investor on Wall Street can't promise you that.
That's a powerful frame. You are earning the money that you stopped paying to the bank.
You are reclaiming your own wealth.
This empty
from the
cage
system.
is labeled freedom,
And once
but
you
it's
have
empty,
that
symbolizing
buffer,
a lack
that
of
1
true
month of
freedom.
expenses, or
Financial
even just that
constraints can
first
keep us caged.
$1,000, you stop being the ideal customer for these predatory industries.
The bank doesn't get the overdraft fee.
This is how
The
a
buy
safety
here,
margin
pay here
works in
lot
finance.
doesn't get your
It's the
business
cushion that
because
gets
you can
compressed
afford to
under
fix your
financial
current
pressure.
car.
You are opting out of their game. And that shift from feeling like a victim of the system to becoming a financial strategist is the most important part.
It changes how you walk through the world. It moves you from survival mode to having options.
It gives you flexibility. It gives you the ability to say no.
I think for me, the biggest takeaway from all these articles is that we need to stop looking at poverty as some kind of moral failing.
Absolutely.
When you see the math, when you see the Boots Theory and the banking fees and the cognitive load, you realize this is a structural challenge. It is a game with rigged rules.
And if you're listening to this and you are in that struggle right now, I hope this validates what you're feeling. You aren't crazy. The math is hard,
Yeah.
but it is hackable. You just have to know the rules so you can break them.
And if you aren't in that struggle, if you're the person with the VIP bank account,
Then understand the invisible headwinds your neighbors are facing. Empathy comes from understanding the mechanics. And honestly, share this information because realizing that you are being taxed by the system is the first step to fighting back against it.
that is where we are going to leave it for this deep dive. Don't just play the game. Learn how it's designed so you can rewrite your own rules. Thanks for listening.
Until next time.